Chapter 1. When Love Is Not Enough. Today I woke up screaming. It was as if the lion in me woke up after many years of sleeping and was screaming for its everlasting life. A voice on the inside shook my spirit and shouted, "Come on, you're slowly dying! What the heck is wrong with you?" I woke up screaming, but nothing came out. Although a lion was loudly roaring on the inside of me, the room was deadly quiet. I knew this was the first day of the rest of my life. I was finding my old self, but creating a better version of her. I wasn't exactly sure where to start, but I knew it was time. If you get your body back, I thought, you will get your mind back and all the weight will fall off. I knew this wasn't figuratively speaking. I literally meant that all the weight I was physically and spiritually carrying was a true reflection and mirror image of my psyche. I was carrying the pounds of emotional turmoil. Here I was at a pivotal point in my life and totally unhappy. Almost every area of my life was a disaster. How did I let it get this far? I wondered. How could I do this to myself? I had always loved myself, enough to watch out for me. My goodness, as an only child, I had no choice. If I didn't have my own back, who did? The most disturbing question I kept asking myself and getting the same answer was this. What do I do when love is not enough? What do people do when love is not enough? What do you do when you have invested over a decade of your life with someone and you know the only future waiting for you is filled with unhappiness, disappointment, and maybe death? It was a shocking realization. It was why the lion inside was screaming for me to wake up. I had always been an athlete, so instinctively I knew I needed to work out my body to work out my mind. I thought, if I get my brain right, my answers will come. I had to let the chips fall where they may. I needed to shed more than pounds. I needed to shed some people. I had to get the negative out of my life. It was weighing me down. I needed to plow away a pathway to light. I needed to create a walkway to follow. I knew it would be a lot of steps, a lot of long strides, but I had a newfound awareness. I knew each stride would be poignant, and I would need to remember it in order to learn. Most importantly, that roaring lion woke me up to the fact that I wasn't living the life God had intended for me at all. I decided the life I was living wasn't how I wanted to live. I laid in bed in the stillness of fresh awareness and decided what I wanted my life to look like. I determined how to make the steps needed to make a change. I started to ask myself some questions. What was I like when I was the most happy? At what age was this? What did I do then? What activities, etc.? What was my body like? What did I eat? Did I drink alcohol? After I started to answer these questions for myself, I got very depressed and perplexed. Even though I felt overwhelmed, I decided to start my plan of attack right away. If not, I knew I would die. And soon. In fact, part of me wanted to die. It would be easier than facing that long road ahead of me. I felt really desperate, like the good part of me was dying. That there was the distorted shell of me, and it was awful, ugly, and sad. It's time for a reset, I said out loud. I needed to reset my happiness button. Forget that, because first I needed to find my happiness button. I started to envision the times I felt happiest, or somewhat happy at this point. Let's be real, this was a sad state of affairs. I knew I needed to formulate a way to obtain a new me. My new me was simply the old me, just the girl I used to be before life got too messy. Who was I before the world told me who to be? Who was I before life got in the way of my joy? It's my fault, though, all of it, I thought. You were never strong enough to say no. It was true. I had always put others before me. The old me was the kind of girl that did not let grass grow under her feet, and she kept her feet moving. She knew how to do what she wanted when she wanted it. Old Jacqui simply did it. I wanted to be her again. I wanted her youthful spirit without the ton of bricks I felt around my neck like I was drowning. I felt like I had a piano on my chest and I was slowly and strongly sinking into the ground. It was loose ground like quicksand. I thought, if I did not do something and take action, at least one step, well then I will die. My mom kept telling me the same thing. JJ, I could hear her voice. JJ is what my family calls me. You are going to get sick. You are going to have a heart attack. You could get cancer. You could have a stroke. It's not good to be this angry and stressed all the time. It is so unhealthy. It was like she was in the room with me, adding her voice to that lion. I know you are not happy, she would say. And not because you are overweight. You are overweight because you are not happy, and your body is reacting to your emotions. You are too good for this. Please help yourself. I could hear my dad chiming in too. JJ, just walk away. Leave everything. Who cares? Come home. Start over. I remembered all my arguments. Dad, I would say, I have responsibilities. I want to come home, but the banks trusted me enough to lend me this money for a mortgage and for my business. So I am not going to be a degenerate and not hold up my end of the bargain. It's just not right. It is not who I am. But thank you, and I love you. I sat up in bed. Let's go, I said out loud.